Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of the media and journalists, welcome all to the European Exfel here at Schönefeld. I'm Zulfi Karabani, a science journalist with Deutsche Welle. It's Germany's public broadcast, the international public broadcast, and we're very happy to be part of this today. After years of careful preparation and construction, the European Exfel is now open for business. Ladies and gentlemen, it is beam time, and I think that calls for a round of applause right off the bat. Sorry, I just had to take one from my mum. Okay, we are all sitting or standing, if you're at the back and at the sides, on top of what is the world's most powerful free X-ray, free electron laser, the European Exfel. It's capable of 27,000 pulses of light per second. And that puts it years ahead of any competition in the United States, China, Japan. But that said, this is a truly international affair, with 11 member countries and soon to be 12 with the future partner, the UK, at the start. Speaking of starts, though, this is in a way kind of an end, because the European Exfel sort of starts about 3.4 kilometers over in that direction at DESI, the German National Research Center in Bahrenfeld. And it shoots along through fields and through residential areas as well, and it ends up around here, deep underground. Don't worry, it's all safe. It ends here. It may be unprecedented in its power, and it certainly is huge. But the European Exfel will enable scientists to investigate some of the smallest things on Earth and in life. You may have heard a lot about molecular movies in the past couple of days as the buzz has grown. But at the same time, there's a lot of potential for scientists and us, everyone out there, to learn more about some very large celestial bodies in deep space. We'll learn more about that a little later on when we get a chance to speak to the European Exfel's science director, Thomas Tschentscher. But before we get into that, I'd like to welcome onto the stage for a brief hello and welcome from three of the very many wise and bright men and women here at the European Exfel and at DESI, starting with Dr. Martin Medom-Nielsen, who's the chair of the European Exfel Council. Also, Dr. Robert Feidenhansel, you can come to the stage as you like, the managing director of the European Exfel. And from DESI, yes, that's right, give a round of applause. And for DESI, Dr. Helmut Dorsch, the chair of the board of directors there. The floor is yours. Would you like to speak into the podium or a freestanding microphone? Do we have a microphone there, perhaps? Or two, as you like. Excellent stuff. So, we have some microphones or the podium, as you like.
I think I'll do it from here. No,
Fantastic.
It looks great looking from here with all you people sitting out there. So, dear Excellencies, guests and colleagues and friends, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome you here on behalf of European Exfel at our premises in Schönefeld. It's a fantastic and exciting day for us opening the European Exfel for operation after more than 8 years of construction. In fact, I must say the whole week has been fantastic, starting with turning on the laser from the Elbphilharmonie and 4 more scientific institutions here to Schönefeld. The journey of opening today has been long and not without challenges, and I would like to say thank for all the support and trust in the project we have had all along the way. I would in particular like to thank for the support the European Exfel has received from its member states, Germany, Russia, France, Italy, Poland, Sweden, Switzerland, Slovakia, Hungary, Denmark, Spain, and United Kingdom. I would also like to thank for the immense support we have gotten from the state of Hamburg and from Schleswig-Holstein. The total cost of the project was 1.5 billion euros, and half of that was delivered in kind. Half of that came from all the different member states, and without that contribution, the project would not have been possible. We've also had a lot of help and effort from many companies who have been helping us building the whole facility here. I would like to thank both the institutions and the company the companies for all their great efforts, and many of them actually here today. Finally, I would like to thank in particular all the staff at European Exfil and at DAISY who have put so much energy and effort and dedication into the project, and without that it would simply not have been possible. As I speak here, there are still people As I speak here, there are still people working downstairs in the experimental hall in order to start to do experiments, and they are so busy that they will not go up here and participate in our celebrations. And some of you will see them downstairs later. So I now declare we are ready to take data. We are ready to meet the challenges for actually making groundbreaking scientific results. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here on behalf of the Council of the European XFEL. Enabling excellent science is the main reason for building the European XFEL, and the long-term success of this facility will be established by users producing excellent science. This is supported by the vision of the European XFEL, which is to offer optimal research opportunities to academic and industrial users, providing a unique source, excellent scientific infrastructure, and in addition, excellent user service. Such a facility has today been realized through the combined ideas and resources by all the local and international partners in areas of engineering, science, politics, governance, and finance. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the member states for their contributions in kind and in cash, making this endeavor possible, and also to the XFEL management and staff, and to the Accelerator Consortium led by DAISY for their dedication and hard work having brought this facility into operation. Last but not least, also to the advisory committees and working groups over the years. Your advice is essential for realizing the best possible facility. Users from all over the world are eagerly awaiting the opportunity to come and experience Hamburg and Schenefeld and to work together with the European XFEL to make excellent science. We will do our utmost to make sure they succeed. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, State Secretaries, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, also a very special welcome from the DAISY Directorate to this official opening of the European XFEL. I'm happy and satisfied that after more than 20 years of research and development at DAISY and after 6 years of construction phase, we are inaugurating today the world's most powerful X-ray laser. It is the most advanced and also the most ambitious European research facilities, which is pregnant with discoveries and breakthroughs in all scientific disciplines, and it will provide revolutionary answers to key societal challenges. The XFEL is one of the boldest scientific advantages of our time, and we will go to work tomorrow. Today, I think it's time to celebrate and to thank. I also want to warmly thank all our partners for this truly wonderful years of trustful and friendly cooperation during the construction and commissioning phase. I think we all have demonstrated so convincingly what can be achieved when nations join forces for a common goal, and that trustful cooperation is possible across all cultures. I think that's a benefit beyond science, what we achieved all together. Thank you for that. My sincere thanks go, of course, to the political authorities and to our funding bodies of the XFEL member states. Without your efforts and without your substantial support, this mega facility would have not become a reality. My only wish for today is that we continue our cooperation with the same team spirit as we have started this project. Then this European shuttle for the quantum cosmos can lift up tomorrow and enter into a world of discovery and innovation. I thank you today for coming. I wish you a joyful stay here in Hamburg and Schleswig-Holstein. I hope that you have interesting conversations here in Hamburg. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Now, you're going to hear it a lot this afternoon. The European Exfil is a truly international affair here. And in order to give you a sense of that spirit, that international spirit, Germany's Minister for Education and Research, Dr. Johanna Wanka, has very kindly invited representatives from the partner countries, including Russia, France, Switzerland, Sweden, and top representatives also from the states of Hamburg and Schleswig-Holstein. And we'll hear from them later, just in a second. They'll all be speaking today. But before we get into that, we thought we'd treat you with a little musical medley representing all of the countries involved in the European Exfil. See if you can spot the tunes as they crop up. I've got some chocolate here for anybody who manages to get the right answers, okay? So, lovely chocolate to win. Back on the stage, Miss and the Mojos. You heard them as you were coming in, so give them a round of applause. Give it up. Miss and the Mojos there from Hamburg. Now, I've got to admit, thank you very much. I failed miserably at that, and as a former musicologist, I've got to say that's pretty embarrassing. I hope you all did a lot better than me. Moving on swiftly, I'd really like you to welcome to the stage Dr. Johanna Wanka, Germany's Minister for Education and Research. The stage is yours.
Ja, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, sehr geehrte Vertreter und Partner des IXFEL, ich begrüße Sie alle heute hier ganz herzlich, insbesondere natürlich die Professoren, die wir schon hier oben auf der Bühne gesehen haben, Herrn Nielsen, Herrn Feidenhansel und Herrn Dosch. Aber ich möchte auch ganz herzlich begrüßen die Minister und Staatssekretäre aus den unterschiedlichsten hier beteiligten Ländern, Madame Vidal, Herr Fosenko, Herr Shomarski, Frau Reuding, Herr Del Ambrogio und viele, viele andere Botschafter, die heute hier sind. Ich begrüße ganz herzlich den ersten Bürgermeister. Ich freue mich, dass meine Kolleginnen Frau Prien und Frau Fegebank hier sind, Herr Wiestler als Präsident der HGF und alle Abgeordneten. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, der Physik-Nobelpreisträger von 1965, Feynman, hatte schon bevor er seinen Physik-Nobelpreis erhalten hatte, in den 50er Jahren des letzten Jahrhunderts, also vor einem halben Jahrhundert, einen visionären Vortrag gehalten. Und dieser Vortrag hat die ganze Welt fasziniert. Er sprach darüber, wie man die Dinge kleiner Größenordnung erforschen kann und sagte, wie atemberaubend klein die Welt da unten ist. Und mit da unten meinte er die Welt der winzigen Atome und der Moleküle, in denen eben die Gesetze der Quantenmechanik herrschen und in denen es eine unglaubliche Vielfalt von Möglichkeiten gibt. Und Feynman war sich sicher, damals in den 50er Jahren des letzten Jahrhunderts, dass das Erforschen dieser Welt da unten ein ganz großes Megathema wird der Forschung in diesem Jahrhundert. Und ich denke, wir geben ihm nicht nur nachträglich recht, sondern wir haben heute das wunderbare Erlebnis, dass wir nach nun rund 8-jähriger Bauzeit der Moment gekommen ist, auf den die Wissenschaftler, die Ingenieure, aber auch die Bauleute mit Hochspannung gewartet haben. Heute ist der European IXFEL fertiggestellt und wir dürfen den Start der ersten Experimente feiern. Dieser Röntgenlaser, es gibt einige auf der Welt, das hier ist der weltweit leistungsfähigste, so einen gibt es nirgendwo auf der Welt. Und er erlaubt es uns viel tiefer, als das jemals zuvor oder auch mit anderen Methoden möglich ist, einzutauchen in die Nanowelt und die Mikrowelt. Und wir hoffen und sind auch eigentlich sicher, dass herausragende Ergebnisse in den nächsten Jahren und auch Jahrzehnten hier erzielt werden können. Ich darf im Namen der Bundesregierung mich bedanken bei all denjenigen, die dazu beigetragen haben, dass diese Vision eines solchen atemberaubenden Röntgenlasers Wirklichkeit werden kann. Und das beginnt mit den Bauarbeitern, mit dem Hochbau, mit dem Tiefbau. Wir sind ja relativ tief mit der Experimentierhalle, aber eben auch mit den Technikern, mit den Ingenieuren, die wie immer bei riesengroßprojekten schon viele wunderbare Patente und neue Entwicklungen, die es so in der Welt nicht gibt, ingenieurmäßig geleistet haben, bevor wir überhaupt in den Stand gesetzt werden, Experimente durchzuführen. Aber vor allen Dingen auch Dank an die Wissenschaftler, die bei der Konzeption, bei der Planung und dann bei der Umsetzung tätig waren. Es ist ein internationales Projekt und wir haben hier die Fähnchen und wir haben die Musik eben gehört. Danach hätte ich es nicht identifizieren können, aber ich sage noch mal, welche Länder beteiligt sind. Deutschland natürlich, klar. Dänemark, Frankreich, Großbritannien, Italien, Polen, Russland, Schweden, die Schweiz, die Slowakei, Spanien und Ungarn. Also eine große, ganz beträchtliche internationale Wissenschaftlergemeinschaft, die hier durch die entsprechenden Länder unterstützt wird. Der deutsche Beitrag sind ungefähr 60% der sehr beträchtlichen Bausumme und beteiligt sind nicht nur die Bundesregierung, natürlich mit dem größten Anteil, aber auch die Länder Hamburg und Schleswig-Holstein. Und insgesamt ist es gut angelegtes Geld, das ist wirklich gut angelegtes Geld. Und Gefragt wurde ich vorhin, warum international? Wenn man die Community sieht und wenn man will, dass zu großen Forschungsthemen die Besten der Welt forschen, die Besten der Welt herkommen hier, dann ist es das Allerbeste, dass man dieses Netzwerk von vornherein nützt und dass man sozusagen der Community entsprechend dann auch hier baut und damit Grundlagen schafft für Forschungsergebnisse von heute, morgen und übermorgen. Und was kann so ein Röntgenlaser? Ich glaube, es ist in der Presse schon gut wiedergespiegelt. Das ist Grundlagenforschung, knallharte, klasse Grundlagenforschung. Und es ist auch ein Bekenntnis Deutschlands zu dem Thema Grundlagenforschung mit beträchtlichen Summen zu unterstützen oder überhaupt zu ermöglichen in einer Situation, wo sehr viele Länder in den stark nur anwendungsorientierten Bezug gehen. Anwendung ist wichtig, klar auch für uns ein Thema, aber wir haben hier ein sehr, sehr herausragendes Beispiel für grundlegende Forschung. Und was dort an Ergebnissen herauskommen wird, das kann man jetzt noch nicht sagen. Aber natürlich ist auch jedem Normalbürger eigentlich klar, wenn man genauer gucken kann, was passiert in den Viren, mit den Viren, dann kann man auch Stoffe dagegen erfinden oder maßgeschneiderte Medikamente gegen Tumorerkrankungen. Oder man kann, wenn man versteht, wie eine chemische Verbindung erfolgt, mal wirklich im Original, in Anführungsstrichen, sehen kann, dass dann sich ganz andere Entwicklungen in der Chemie für Katalysatoren, auch Batterien und vieles andere ergeben. Das heißt, für Vorgänge hier auf der Erde, aber auch wenn es darum geht, die Zusammensetzung von Planeten, die wahnsinnig weit weg sind, dann sind das hier technische Möglichkeiten, das zu erforschen. Und wenn ich sagte, Deutschland bekennt sich auch mit diesem Bau sehr stark zur Grundlagenforschung, dann ist das nicht immer einfach, aber es ist notwendig. Es ist lebensnotwendig, wenn wir übermorgen Ergebnisse haben wollen und wenn wir die großen globalen Fragen der Menschheit lösen wollen. Und das ist zum Beispiel die Bekämpfung von furchtbaren Erkrankungen. Aber darüber hinaus ist es auch eine Möglichkeit für den Nachwuchs in der Wissenschaft und in der Industrie. Und ich glaube, dass wir solche Rahmenbedingungen für die Grundlagenforschung, wie wir sie hier geschaffen haben, dass wir die in den kommenden Jahren noch mehr schätzen werden. Und ich möchte mich an dieser Stelle nicht nur bedanken, habe ich eben schon getan, bei all denjenigen, die beteiligt waren, sondern ich möchte denjenigen, die hier forschen und arbeiten, viel Glück wünschen und das auch in ganz profanem Eigeninteresse, weil es Dinge sein werden, die unser aller Leben auf der Erde besser machen. Und deswegen Glückwunsch an alle und Dank an alle. Und nachher freue ich mich auf den Start. Danke.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jana Vanka there. Next, we'll have a few words from Dr. Andrei Fosenko, the Chief Scientific Advisor and aide to the President of the Russian Federation, and after Germany, one of the biggest contributors here to the European XFEL. Off you go.
Hello. Sehr geehrter Professor Dr. Jan Vanka, sehr geehrter Herr Bürgermeister Olaf Scholz, sehr geehrte Kollegen, дорогие друзья. The mega project for the European X-ray laser on free electron construction is a unique project. First of all, it's unique for the fact that it has been executed in time and within the approved budget. I should say that it happens not so frequently for the big projects, but we have it. I was lucky to be in the very beginning of the XFEL project. Professor Kovalchuk and me started informal talks with our German colleagues in 2006, or maybe 2005, I don't remember exactly. But it was very important that in November 2009, the agreement between all participants of the project has been signed here in Hamburg. Chancellor Merkel and President Putin supported the idea of this mega project, which allowed, despite of the crisis of the 2008 and other problems of the budgetary character, to fulfill all obligations in time. Construction of such a grand scale and significant research unit is our common achievement. Everyone's contribution was very important. In this regard, I want to remember and to thank not only direct participants, which presented here, but also those scientists whose ideas have formed the basis of the installation. We are very proud that among them are Russian researchers Evgeny Saldin, Anatoly Kondratyenko, and Yaroslav Derbenyov, who have thought up the way to increase the radiation power more than 1 million times. Today, it was already mentioned, and again, many people will speak about important contribution of XFEL to research activities in the field of medicine, genetics, new materials, etc. Now I would like to mention another point. We did what nobody earlier could do. XFEL is an intellectual contribution into the world science. It's one more project that mankind can be proud of. Dear friends, one of the special features of the XFEL is that many young people from different countries, cities, universities, and research centers of the world work in this project. It is natural, because this project is designed for the future. Other step for the future is a new initiative of the Vladimir Putin and Angela Merkel aimed at the developing of the roadmap of science and technology cooperation between Russia and Germany, which would include as well construction and exploitation of unique mega-class research installation in our countries. And like 10 years ago, it means not only bilateral project. I really hope that European, and maybe not only European, colleagues will join our full-scale scientific cooperation in jointly agreed priority areas. In this respect, I would like to thank the European Commission for the interest to our cooperation projects and for the real permanent help to these projects. I also would like to express my special gratitude to the city of Hamburg and to Land Schleswig-Holstein, which have hosted our project. I think that the choice of this city was not casual. The city, which has received the status of the free city 5 centuries ago, is the right place for the establishment and the operation of the free electronic laser. And for the conclusion, I would like to remember one story. About 40 years ago, in the Soviet Union, there was a book, Physicists Are Joking. One of the pictures of that book was showing 2 scientists looking at the tiny elephant standing on the table between them. And one of them saying, "So we did it. Now let's look how our astronauts will use it." You see, I wish all participants of the XFEL project great scientific discoveries that would explain why we did it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Andrei Fosenko. Now, I've just been informed that we're running slightly behind schedule, so if I could ask the speakers, it's probably my fault, but if I could ask the speakers to speed things up a little bit, that'd be great. But as Dr. Fosenko was just mentioning again, the international aspect here, this really is a project of international cooperation. It's made possible by cash and in-kind contributions. That could be human resources or components. And it's really encouraging European suppliers to up their game to produce and develop bespoke cutting-edge technologies. That could be new detectors, optics, or also new ways to deal with the so-called data deluge, the masses of data that we'll get from the European XFEL. And all of that, it's sure, will flow into other areas of science and research, as I'm sure you can all imagine. One other country that's, I'm sure, eager to get its hands on some of that data is France. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Frédéric Vidal, the French Minister for Higher Education, Research and Innovation.
Madame la Ministre, sehr geehrte Frau Wanka, es freut mich sehr, Sie in Hamburg wiederzusehen. Dear Mr. Olaf Scholz, First Mayor of the City of Hamburg and Plenipotentiary of the Federal Republic of Germany for French-German Cultural Affairs. Dear Mrs. Vankebank, Senator for Science, Research and Rights Equality in the Hamburg Senate. Dear Mrs. Karen Prien, Minister of Education, Science and Cultural Affairs of the land of Schleswig-Holstein. Dear colleagues, representative of the participating countries to EXFEL, Mr. Fursenko, Mr. Delamboggio, Mrs. Reuding, Mr. Shomarski, dear directors of EXFEL and of DESI, chers membres de la délégation scientifique française, que je remercie pour son engagement dans ce projet et pour sa présence aujourd'hui, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure and an honor to be here for the inauguration of the European EXFEL. This new ultra-high intensity X-ray source indeed opens a new era in a number of scientific domains. These include materials, electronic and structural properties, the structure of biological molecules, the understanding of nanostructures, far from equilibrium matter, and so on. In particular, thanks to its extremely high brilliance and its wide X-ray spectrum, EXFEL will allow specific and innovative applications such as real-time imaging of chemical reactions or biological processes. As you all know, large-scale research infrastructures play an increasingly crucial role in the advancement of science and in global scientific competition. For the most advanced of these infrastructures, pooling resources and talent at the European level is the only way to succeed. Three remarkable examples of such infrastructures are the Institut Laoé Langevin, the European Synchrotron in Grenoble, or the CERN in Geneva. Built in Europe, they contribute significantly to the excellence and visibility of European science, and the European EXFEL will undoubtedly join this list. Its inauguration highlights the success of the construction phase. With the European EXFEL and the upgraded ESRF called Extremely Brilliant Source, Europeans will benefit from that will be the world's two most intense X-ray sources. I cannot talk about EXFEL without commending the decisive role played by the leading policymakers of the city land of Hamburg and the land of Schleswig-Holstein. I would therefore like to congratulate all the German stakeholders who helped make this project a reality. The French contribution to the building of EXFEL, though more limited than that of Germany, has proven to be essential for the accelerator. France is happy to have brought together for that purpose the expertise of two of its major scientific institutions, namely the CEA and CNRS. They both collaborated efficiently with DESI here in Hamburg to design, supervise, and qualify the production of the key component of the accelerator. More generally, the end of the building phase is the perfect opportunity to underline the excellence of the European and Russian institutions who took part in the construction. In addition to the contribution of the scientific institutions, I would like to stress that EXFEL is also a superb demonstration of the unique know-how of European instrumentation industrial players. Alcium, Aperam, Mechamagnetic, Jayer, Zanon, Research Instruments, Thales, to name the most important ones. In particular, I note that the industrialization of the production of accelerator components, especially trio modules and couplers, allowed European industry to step up and gain a leading position. I see the request of Stanford SLAC to use technologies developed for EXFEL as a good illustration of that position. France is proud to have significantly contributed to that success. This new European infrastructure, with an important contribution from Russia, allows Germany and its European partners to further improve their leading position with respect to the acquisition of new fundamental and applied knowledge, reinforcing and developing Large-scale research infrastructures must be a shared goal to construct the European research area in its broadest sense, including, of course, Switzerland and Russia. At the end of this truly impressive technology feat of building such a demanding infrastructure, and at the beginning of the use of Xfel by the scientists, I want to underline the outstanding quality of the work. I also want to congratulate all the teams, the laboratories and industry partners for their deep and permanent commitment. I wish a good start and success to Xfel and an enjoyable, passionate wealth of new discoveries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vidal. Next up, we have a visual treat for you. Remember those 3.4 kilometers I mentioned before? We're going to give you a flight along the tunnel of the European Xfel. So buckle up, sit back, and enjoy. How do you like that? I wish I had a seat. I'm feeling really dizzy at the moment, actually. Well, as you can see, 3.4 kilometers. Of course, the European XFEL stretches across national borders through its members. It's 11 members, soon to be 12 members. But it also crosses state boundaries here in Germany. So if you're from out of town, you might have come into Hamburg. But right now, we're actually straddling Schleswig-Holstein and Hamburg. The boundary is, I don't know, somewhere over there in the fields, I think, just behind us. It's not far from here. But on that note, I'd like to welcome to the stage Olaf Scholz, the first mayor of Hamburg or minister president. Please come to the stage. The stage is yours.
Meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, heute ist ein Tag der Freude und der Zuversicht. Mit dem European XFEL werden Wissenschaftlerinnen und Wissenschaftler in unbekannte Welten vorstoßen. Die neue Forschungsanlage ermöglicht einen technologischen Sprung, den man historisch betrachtet wahrscheinlich mit der Erfindung des Linsenteleskops durch Galilei vergleichen kann. Nur dass sich der Blick diesmal nicht zu den Sternen richtet, sondern ins Innerste der Teilchen und Zellen. Der XFEL soll 3D-Bilder und Filme sogar live aus einem Kosmos liefern, der für die menschlichen Sinne unvorstellbar klein und doch ganz real ist. Und übrigens auch ausgesprochen sinnlich, wie man kürzlich in der Diele unseres Rathauses sehen konnte. Dort hat das Hamburg Center for Ultrafast Imaging beeindruckend schöne Bilder aus der Mikrowelt gezeigt. Der European XFEL ist ein wissenschaftliches Gemeinschaftsprojekt im Geiste der Aufklärung und der internationalen Zusammenarbeit. Tief verankert im Forschungsraum der Europäischen Union und eng verbunden mit Russland, das zusammen mit Deutschland den größten Anteil der Kosten für den Bauernbetrieb übernimmt. Das ist ein ermutigendes Zeichen in angespannter Zeit. Wissenschaft braucht Offenheit und Toleranz und sie fördert diese auch. Denn wie ließen sich unsere universellen Werte besser mit Leben füllen als durch die gemeinsame Suche nach Erkenntnis und durch das Teilen von Wissen? Der European XFEL sendet nicht nur ultrakurze Lichtblitze aus, er sendet auch klare Signale für Völkerverständigung und Frieden. Das passt gut zu Hamburg. Unsere Hansestadt will im Geiste des Friedens eine Mittlerin zwischen allen Erdteilen und Völkern der Welt sein, heißt es in der hamburgischen Verfassung, und das nehmen wir sehr ernst. Wir sind in Hamburg überzeugte Europäer und haben großes Vertrauen in die Zusammenarbeit beim European XFEL. Danke an Schleswig-Holstein und alle Partnerländer Dänemark, Frankreich, Italien, Polen, Russland, Schweden, Schweiz, Slowakei, Spanien und Ungarn. Und auch einen Beitritt von Großbritannien sehen wir entgegen. Der European XFEL ist ein hoffnungsvolles Beispiel für gelebte europäische Integration und für den Erfolg der europäischen Forschungsförderung. Den Ursprung für die XFEL-Technik aber haben die herausragenden Forscherinnen und Forscher am DESI gelegt. Bereits 1992 wurden dort mit Flash eine zukunftsweisende Testanlage in Betrieb genommen. Im Jahr 2000 legten DESI-Forscher dann den Vorschlag für einen Teilchenbeschleuniger der nächsten Generation vor. Dafür sollte ein über 30 Kilometer langer Tunnel von Hamburg-Bahnfeld aus Richtung Nordwest gebaut werden. Die supraleitende Testner-Technologie und weitere Erkenntnisse aus diesem Projekt flossen in die Entwicklung des XFEL und des Internationalen Lineal-Colliders ein. Der European XFEL befindet sich in guter Nachbarschaft. Der Forschungscampus rund um das DESI entwickelt sich zu einem großen internationalen Zentrum für Strukturforschung und Lebenswissenschaften. In diesem Sommer erst haben wir 2 weitere Institute eröffnet und den Grundstein für das Max-Planck-Institut für die Struktur und Dynamik der Materie gelegt. Und unser Wissenschaftsstandort wächst weiter. Hamburg investiert in Wissenschaft und ihre Anwendung. Zusammen mit der Fraunhofer Gesellschaft und über eigene Innovationsparks bauen wir eine stabile Brücke zwischen der Grundlagenforschung und der Entwicklung neuer Produkte und Dienstleistungen. Viele internationale Forscherteams warten jetzt sehnlichst darauf, mit ihren Experimenten am European X-Feld zu starten. Wie können wir in Zukunft Energie gewinnen, ohne die Natur weiter zu belasten? Wie lassen sich Eiweiße besser verstehen, um Alzheimer oder Parkinson besser zu behandeln? Was geschieht unter den Extremzuständen im Innern von Planeten? Der European X-Feld wird dazu beitragen, Antworten auf Menschheitsfragen zu finden und das Leben auf unserem Planeten besser zu machen. Besser nicht nur für einige wenige, sondern für alle Menschen. Das muss das Ziel sein, das uns leitet, und diesem Ziel haben wir uns in Hamburg verschrieben. Vielen Dank und für die Zukunft alles Gute und viel wissenschaftlichen Erfolg.
Thank you, Olaf Scholz. Now, just a little note on the sidelines. I know it's great to have a bar like dotted around the place, but at the back there's a lot of chatter and a lot of glasses and that. If you can keep that down just a little bit, then everybody can hear what's going on during the proceedings today. Thank you very much. Now, I'm sure that you're all aware that the FEL community, the free electron laser community, is growing worldwide, and it's said with a sense of healthy competition among all the people involved in that. So take Switzerland, for instance. Switzerland has its own FEL facility, but it's also deeply committed here in the European X-FEL. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Mauro Dell'Ambrosio, the State Secretary for Education, Research and Innovation for Switzerland.
Sehr geehrte Frau Bundesministerin, Madame la Ministre, sehr geehrter Herr erster Oberbürgermeister, уважаемые дамы и господа, дорогие друзья из Российской Федерации, ladies and gentlemen, today's celebration provides a unique opportunity to emphasize how crucial international collaboration is to today front-end research and innovation. That was stressed by other speakers, and I'm glad to share this conviction with you. The completion of the European X-FEL facility is an impressive achievement, if any. It's a result of outstanding technical and scientific, but also managerial and political skills, which deserve our deepest respect. Allow me to express my sincere congratulations to everyone involved, and especially to Germany as the host country. European X-FEL is a new landmark in the worldwide scientific landscape. It opens up a brand new spectrum of possible experiments. European X-FEL shall produce breaking-through scientific results very soon and contribute to the establishment of new ideas and new collaborations. Dear managing staff, as the first beams went through the tunnel in June, you had every right to celebrate. After years of hard work, the machine was functioning properly. More scientists will celebrate when the same machine unveils scientific mysteries and push back the frontiers of knowledge. European X-FEL will hopefully never stop partying in the next years. I like to consider European X-FEL as a product of strong scientific collaboration with a pinch of international political support. Switzerland actively participated in this successful endeavor. They consisted as well in delivering advice, expertise, and finally components of the machine from one of the most prominent Swiss National Competence Center for Science, the Fxe Institute. And this true collaboration could not come without mutual benefits. The Fxe Institute reversely benefited from working on the design and construction of European X-FEL in view of achieving its own large-scale hard X-ray free electron laser called Swiss X-FEL, which is running since last year. With European X-FEL and Swiss FEL, 2 out of the 5 world-class research infrastructure of that kind are located in Europe. They will complement each other while competing to deliver the best possible experimental conditions to scientists from all over the world. These infrastructures shall contribute to foster European leadership in science. Fostering leadership in any scientific domain is a never-ending journey to which all involved stakeholders have to commit. Such a journey requires a serious and reliable partnership. With regard to commitment and determination, ladies and gentlemen, let me here ensure you that Switzerland is and shall remain a small but reliable partner for Europe, supporting the realization of a European research area. Political and financial support towards science are necessary, but not sufficient to foster scientific leadership. For this, you need first of all excellent science, and excellence can only be achieved through open competition. This is why research infrastructures are to be open to all excellent scientific proposals, irrespective of other considerations than science. This requirement is fulfilled at the European XFEL, as beam time is awarded here, based exclusively on the scientific quality of submitting research proposals. Ladies and gentlemen, a last remark. All of us notice that these days the value of science is stepping back in some countries. In policy making and in education, they are turning their back away from scientific evidence. This is alarming for our future. But today, 11 countries showed that together they believe in science. This should give that should give us hope and should make all of us very proud. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dell'Ambrosio. Well, since the European XFEL started officially in 2009, it's formed partnerships, of course, within the partner countries, but also internationally. So just for example, we have the China Academy of Engineering Physics, you have the SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory in the US, or the Science and Technology Facilities Council in the UK, the Turkish Accelerator Center, I can go on and on and on, Osaka University in Japan. The list is very long. And it's like a little United Nations, if you'll allow me to drop that little cliche into the mix. But it is, because in the moment we'll get to meet some of the first scientists, or the scientists who've first been awarded beam time here at the European XFEL, and you'll see that they really do embody that international spirit. But before that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Karin Reuding, the Swedish State Secretary for Higher Education and Research.
Your Excellencies, Ministers, colleagues, dear friends of science. Today marks an important milestone in the history of science. Now when the first instruments are getting ready for the users, the European XFEL opens up completely new areas of experiment. This means that our knowledge and understanding of atomic structures, molecular processes, are about to take a giant leap forward. This large-scale research infrastructure is the result of a successful partnership and collaboration at many levels, both scientific and political. After 8 years of construction, problem-solving, joint efforts, we now see the result. On behalf of the Swedish Minister for Higher Education and Research, Ms. Helene Hellmark Knutsson, I would like to congratulate the European XFEL staff and everyone else who has been involved in this impressive co-creation project. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the German government, the Land of Schleswig-Holstein, and the City of Hamburg for hosting XFEL, and for your commitment and determination in addressing the challenges and the needs of this project. by facilitating and supporting the steps along the way. Germany, as a host country, has enabled Expo to be constructed. Now we all must continue our support and joint efforts to make this a scientific success story. Several Swedish universities have been very active during the construction of Expo. Swedish research groups from the Royal Institute of Technology, universities of Uppsala, Stockholm, and Gothenburg have been responsible for important in-kind contributions. Providing for the Expo project is, as far as I understand, a challenging task, since many of the components are far from being standard. It means that they have been developed specifically to reach the specific technological needs of the project. I would like to congratulate all involved to the excellent work you have done, and I'm sure that you are excited to get started with the first experiments. As you may know, the European Spallation Source, ESS, another joint endeavor, is currently under construction in the south of Sweden, only 5 hours' drive from here. Co-localized with ESS and adjacent to the University of Lund, there is a newly inaugurated synchrotron, MAX-4. We hope that the European Expo and DC here in Hamburg, together with ESS and MAX-4, will form a cluster for material science, biology, life science that will attract brilliant scientists from all over the world. I'm sure that some of you are already here. For the Swedish government, supporting research infrastructure, and innovation is high priority. I wish to underline that our government remains strong in its long-term commitment to support the European Expo, as well as supporting Swedish scientists that would like to conduct their research projects here. With this exceptional brilliance, I'm certain that this world-class facility will be able to shed light on the mutual challenges we face in our societies. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reuding. Now, as I promised, it's now time to meet some of the scientists who've first been awarded beam time here at the European Expo. And I'll be excused, I had to bring up my little crib notes here to get this right. We're going to do this, it's going to be a bit complicated, but we'll manage. If I could ask the scientists to come up onto the stage first, we have Alexander Guda from the Southern Federal University in Rostov-on-Don in Russia. We have Alan Orville from the Diamond Light Source in the United Kingdom, future partner. Henry Chapman and Anton Barty from the Center for Free Electron Laser Science at DESY, and also Wojciech Gawelda, a Polish scientist currently based right here at the European Expo. So if you could come to the stage, that'd be great. And we've got a little presentation for you. Yeah, that's right, a round of applause. A small presentation. And to help us, I'd like to ask Dr. Jana Vanker, Olaf Scholz, and Karin Prien, the Minister for Schleswig-Holstein, for this is where I get tripped up again, always. These ministers have all these very similar names, and they're just slightly different. It is Education, Science, and Cultural Affairs. I'm going to go to bed thinking about that. Please come to the stage. Now, how have we got? We've got 1, 2, Dr. Jana Vanker, if you could help, and also Robert Feidenhanser, if you could help us. Now, what we'll do is, if you could come here, because we have to make a nice little photo as well, so just jig along right over there. Okay. If you could all stand around here. Now I'm going to go to my little box of tricks here. And we have, first up, if I could ask, who would like to present the very first one? Perhaps Jana Vanker. If you could present this to Alexander Guda. Step forward. Yes, please. Bitteschön. Alexander Guda, this is for you. Now, you could, oh. Excellent stuff. Now, Let's just crack on. I want to ask you a very brief question, if I may. I'll come over to this side so we don't block. No, you come. You stay over here. You stay over here. That's right. Okay. So you must be very excited. One of the biggest, coming from one of the countries that has contributed one of the most or the biggest amounts. What do you expect to do here that you can't do in other facilities?
Just short preliminary comment. I would like to thank. There were many words from big, important politicians, and as a scientist and as all scientists, we would like to thank all of you for a new toy for scientists of such size who will help us to study the world of physics. And for sure, with this excellent machine and extraordinary brightness and high repetition pulses, we will gain a lot of information for our object and in a very short time scale, in the very beginning. Like in particle physics, everybody is looking into a Big Bang, and we are looking into the first femtoseconds after X-file pulse and see what is happening there.
Fantastic. Well, wish you the best of luck. Excellent stuff, Alexander Kuda. Right, okay. Moving on swiftly, we're going to Alan Orville. Once again, the Diamond Light Source. Who's next? Would you like to go next, perhaps? There you go. Alan Orville, please step forward. And make it nice so the cameras can get a nice shot. Yeah, there you go. Whoa. Right. Sorry. I was breaking my own rule. Okay, so may I drop this bomb? I mean, we often hear about European initiatives bringing scientists together, but also bringing Europe together. At a very difficult time for the UK, of course. I had to say it, sorry. So do you think we can also expect that here from the European XFEL, a bringing together of scientists, of minds, and a unified sense here in Europe?
Yes, absolutely. But what you might notice already is I don't have a UK accent.
Get off the stage. Get off.
I will say this, however, it is an international effort. This is a collaborative effort. When we had our phone calls to organize it, it spanned 18 time zones. So this is a big effort, and we really do thank you for this opportunity.
Fantastic. Best of luck to you. Right. Next, we have Henry Chapman and Anton Barty. Now, will I get the correct one here? No, I won't. Please bear with me as I go to my box of tricks here. So, Anton Barty, who's next up? Who hasn't had a go yet? Perhaps you, Karen Preen? Okay, so Anton Barty and Henry Chapman from just down the road. Make it nice for the cameras, perhaps. Let's just get you in. Where do you want to go? Maybe you go on the other side. You stand here, and then I'll get out of the shot. There you go. Nice picture for the camera. Oh, and then I'll break everything else. There you go. Thank you very much. Okay, go for it. Thank you. Right, okay, so what did I want to ask you now? What is your research, actually? What are you going to do here?
Yeah, we're interested in studying the structures of biomolecules, proteins, to figure out what they do and how they do it.
Fantastic. So are you going to be doing things with the molecular movies that we hear about?
Exactly. We're doing things with the molecular movies. We're going to step up the data acquisition rate with the megahertz pulse trains that you can get from the free electron laser here, and go from static structures to molecular movies and dynamics that will enable us to understand things from photosynthesis to drug interactions and enable us to take the next step in biological understanding.
Fantastic. Best of luck to you. We can hear all these different accents here, and Antipodeans as well. Fantastic. Right, okay. Wojciech Gewelder from the European XFEL, and I think I'd better give that one to you. Here we go. Make it nice for the cameras. Okay, fantastic. So, let me ask you, give us a little insider perspective on the European XFEL. You have inside experience here. What's it like working here? What's it been like as the months have been building up to this very momentous day today?
So yes, I'm one of those privileged scientists who actually was here from almost the beginning. So it is a very international place, as it was described by many other speakers today. It's really characterized by great atmosphere, many great scientists and engineers work here. So yes, it's a really good place to work.
Fantastic. Best of luck to you as well. Another round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you. You've done a wonderful job. Please resume your seats. What wonderful people we have here today. And it is indeed a great thing to have so many people from the member countries here today, in fact, and that includes, of course, Poland. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Lukash Shomarski, the Polish Deputy Minister for Science and Education. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Minister Vanke, Herr Mayor Olaf Scholz, ministers, honorable authorities, and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful ceremony. Only 11 months ago, at the same place, we celebrated the start of commissioning of the European Exfel. And it is impressive how smoothly the process was carried out, but I must say I expected nothing less, considering the fact that this unique facility, unique worldwide, was built in time and within the budget. This is something exceptional in large facilities. So I would like to congratulate and give special thanks to the Exfel management, to the scientists, engineers, technicians, and all the institutions and companies that took part in building this facility. And as all of the previous speakers mentioned, this is a European Exfel facility, and it proves that the collaboration of European countries can be efficient, can be excellent, and can produce wonderful things. And it proves that Europe was, is, and will be one of the best places to conduct free research and science. And I hope that we'll have more collaboration like this, and that this facility will give us the opportunity to work together in the future. And I'm very proud that among the entities that contributed significantly to building Exfel were Polish institutes and research institutes and institutions and companies that gained knowledge, that gained experience, that made them more competitive and interesting in future R&D projects all over the world, and they, I hope, will still contribute to the Exfel. And speaking about Exfel, it's hard not to mention how wonderful it is. We've just seen how wonderful it is. There's a lot of technologies that's been used in order to build the facility. Electromagnetic fields, laser detectors, cryogenics, large database mining, and so on and so on. But what is also very important, that it will have impact not only on basic science, but also on practical aspects like material science, like molecular biology that we've heard, like medicine that is close to my heart as I'm a cardiologist myself. And in the future, the achievements and work that is done here will have impact on each and every member of the society of Europe and worldwide. So I would like to congratulate once more, and I hope that everybody that will conduct research here, the very first scientists that we've seen, will have many years of wonderful playing with this large toy, as we've heard, but that will produce excellent research results in the future that we can all share, and that will be a great gain in knowledge and of the whole humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shomarski. Now, of course, as you can imagine, with all this amazing technology based here, it's attracting scientists, as we've seen already, to Germany, to Europe, and it is fantastic, isn't it? And it will no doubt boost research at the local level, at the national, but also at the state level. So last, but by no means least, I'd like to welcome to the stage once again Karen Prien, the Schleswig-Holstein Minister for Education, Science and Research.
Sehr sehr geehrte Frau Professor Wanka, sehr geehrter Herr Bürgermeister Scholz, Herr Professor Feidenhansel, sehr geehrte nationale und internationale X-Feld-Partnergemeinschaft, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren. Wow, das war ein bewegender Moment, eben die First User Cards, die wir überreichen durften gemeinsam. Das sind die Eintrittskarten in die Zukunft, das sind die Schlüsselkarten für innovative Forschung, ein Türöffner für eine neue Qualität internationaler Zusammenarbeit. Und lassen Sie mich es sagen, all das geht aus von der Metropolregion Hamburg und von schleswig-holsteinischem Boden. Heute geht der weltweit leistungsstärkste Röntgenlaser in Betrieb, hier in Schenefeld bei Hamburg und damit in der Metropolregion. Und wir werden hier zum Zentrum der Grundlagenforschung. Wir gewinnen einen neuen Blick in die Materie, in den menschlichen Körper, in jede Zelle, in die Tiefen der Erde und die Weite des Weltalls, in eine Welt, die uns bisher verschlossen war. Der Film eben hat uns eine Ahnung gegeben davon, wie das Ganze funktioniert, und es ist wirklich faszinierend. Unser Land Schleswig-Holstein und Hamburg profitieren gemeinsam von dieser Anlage und den Impulsen in die Welt der Wissenschaft, die von ihr ausgehen. Ich freue mich auf die weitere Zusammenarbeit, Herr Bürgermeister Scholz, und ich hoffe und bin sicher, dass wir die Stärken dieser Anlage auch zum Wohle unserer beiden Bundesländer und auch der Bundesrepublik Deutschland insgesamt werden nutzen und ausbauen können. 27.000 Blitze pro Sekunde, es wurde erwähnt, mit einer Wellenlänge von 0,05 Nanometer in einer unterirdischen Röhre gejagt, ist ab heute nicht mehr Science Fiction, sondern das ist Realität. Schwer vorstellbar, aber wahr. Der Röntgenblitz ist in der Lage, ein Molekül zu zerlegen und es vorher noch zu fotografieren. Das Bildnis von der Comicfigur Lucky Luke, das haben Sie alle gelesen, der Cowboy, der seine Waffe schneller ziehen konnte als sein eigener Schatten. Hier passiert etwas Ähnliches, etwas, was unsere Vorstellung sprengt, und doch, es geht. Hier wird Grundlagenforschung betrieben, mit großer Chance, schon bald im Alltag anzukommen, in der Krebstherapie, bei der Behandlung von chronischen Erkrankungen, bei der Gestaltung von berührungsempfindlichen Oberflächen. Das hier ist ein Ort, in dem hochkonzentriert und engagiert gearbeitet und geforscht wird. Aber, meine Damen und Herren, es ist auch ein Ort, an dem man sich metaphysischen Fragen wie der nach der menschlichen Existenz annähert. Man könnte mit Goethes Faust sprechen, was die Welt im Innersten zusammenhält, das ist das, dem Sie sich hier nähern. Und ich denke, es ist ein großes Privileg für Forscherinnen und Forscher, aber auch für die Träger des Forschungszentrums, hier gemeinsam Grundlagenforschung hier in einem doppelten Sinne betreiben zu dürfen. Viele Bilder sind ja gefunden worden, um diese Anlage hier zu beschreiben. In dem Abendblatt habe ich gelesen, eine Disco der ganz besonderen Art, fand ich sehr schön, die Hightech-Lichtmaschine. Aber jedenfalls ist es ein nicht hoch genug einschätzbarer Impuls für die Partnerschaft auch der beiden Wissenschaftsstandorte Hamburg und Schleswig-Holstein. Und erlauben Sie mir an der Stelle vielleicht doch noch mal den Vergleich mit der Elbphilharmonie. Die Elbphilharmonie der Teilchen, könnte man sagen, hier in Schenefeld, kann zwar architektonisch zugegebenermaßen nicht ganz mithalten mit der schönen an der Elbe, aber davon sollte man sich nicht täuschen lassen. Die Strahlkraft dieser Elbphilharmonie der Teilchen kann sehr wohl mithalten mit der Strahlkraft der Elbphilharmonie in der Welt der Musik und der Architektur. Davon bin ich fest überzeugt. Es beginnt also hier, meine Damen und Herren, eine neue Ära der Forschung in Europa und auch eine neue Ära für die Forscher in Schleswig-Holstein und Hamburg. Und ich freue mich sehr, dass auch Forscher aus Lübeck und aus Kiel dabei sein werden bei den Ersten, die diese wahnsinnig tolle Anlage werden benutzen können. Und es ist ein großes Privileg, auch für das Wissenschaftsland Schleswig-Holstein, jetzt eine solche leistungsstarke Anlage hier direkt vor der Haustür zu haben. Meine Damen und Herren, auch ich darf noch einmal danken all jenen, die beteiligt sind an der Realisierung des X-Feld, die daran mitgewirkt haben, dieses Projekt möglich zu machen, den internationalen Partnern. Und meine Damen und Herren, ich würde gerne schließen mit einem Satz von Konrad Röntgen. Das ist ja sozusagen der einer der geistigen Väter dieser Anlage und der auf die X-Strahlen, wie er sie nannte, angesprochen einmal sagte, "We shall see what we shall see. We have to start now. The developments will follow in time. There's much to do and I'm busy, very busy." In diesem Sinne, meine Damen und Herren, wünsche ich allen den besten Erfolg. Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much, Karen Prien. Well, that concludes the very first part of our proceedings this afternoon, but I assure you it's now going to get really, really hot. As some of you will get the chance to go down into the experiment hall to be part of the inauguration ceremony down there, ribbon cutting, etc. And we'll get a taste, a demonstration of the sorts of experiments that we'll get to see here at the European XFEL. So if I could just gently and slowly ask the first two rows, just the first two rows, to make your way perhaps through the center and up through the stairway to my left. These friendly people will help you. Everybody else, I'm afraid it's not possible for everybody to go down all at once, but because there's not a lot of room down there, for safety reasons, etc. But we do hope that you'll all get a chance. If you would like to have a chance, we hope you get a chance during the course of the afternoon to go down there at some point. So the members of media as well who've been instructed that they can go down, I'm sure you know who you are, and there is a further access point via the back of the tent. So if you've been instructed, a member of the media or journalist, you can go through the back end of the tent, and if you're unsure, the many friendly people here at the European XFEL will help you out. Now, I have a vested interest, though, in keeping as many of you here as I possibly can, because as I promised earlier, we have a chance to speak to one of the last people sitting on the front row there, Thomas Tschentscher, the European XFEL's scientific director. So perhaps you'd like to come to the stage, and a round of applause for you. And we'll need a microphone for the man. I'll just keep talking while we get a microphone for you. Can we have a microphone as well, a free microphone for Thomas Tschentscher? Everybody's gone with a microphone. We could just stand very close and you could talk into my microphone here, but you might not. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's going to happen in just a moment. So the first people are going to go down into the experiment hall. There'll be ribbon cutting, and we'll see some amazing things here because there's a connection, a live feed, video and sound feed between here and the experiment hall. And I'm just going to clamber over this drum kit here like Kurt Cobain used to do back in the day. So this is for you.
Connected.
Thank you very much. Right.
Yeah, now it works. Great.
It works.
Hello.
Fantastic. Thomas Tschentscher, thank you very much. Scientific director here at the European XFEL. First up, the personal touch. You must be incredibly excited to have got to this point now. How do you feel?
Unbelievable. I mean, it's really, after many years of work, it's just great. Just great to be here to see all these people who have been working with us along the way, who have been here in the last years, who have been here in the beginning of the project. It's really just stunning to see everybody here to celebrate this.
And how do you feel about this idea of science bringing communities together? Because we have spoken a lot about the international flavor here. Do you see that as part of science's job maybe as well?
Well, I mean, this is really the benefit of X-ray science, correct? X-rays can help in many different types of science, physics, biochemistry, chemistry, material science. Now we start into geology. I mean, and this is really just great to get these different communities together, work together in these facilities. Groups coming in for experiments, just discussing their ideas, what they want to do, and then come for the experiments and see that these experiments work out, develop results, go on the next step, do something either beyond or here in a second type of experiment. It's just great.
That's very interesting because we do hear these days that scientists tend to work in their little silos, and so even within the scientific communities we're seeing more interaction.
We see many interactions. I mean, of course, we here in the moment have many people who are experts in developing instrumentation for these kind of facilities. So that was, for us, the first challenge to build these facilities, to develop new technologies and instrumentation, and we needed the people here. But also we need to have the input and the direct interaction with the scientific communities to understand what they want to do, what are their requirements, what kind of things are special and absolutely important. And for that you need to understand the science, what people want to do. You need to interact with these people, and then you need to build it. And basically, there's a lot of interaction between different communities, and we here really like the place where all this happens. I mean, people come here, they interact here, and they work here together. I mean, this is just great.
I want to get into the science in just a second, a bit deeper, but I also want to ask you about the community, because the idea of community is such a big thing. And so if we know that this European Expo stretches across 2 state boundaries, through fields, some are empty, some are residential. How much of what you do here and are going to be doing here do you think is ringing through to the public at large? Do people understand what an X-ray free electron laser does and what it's good for?
Well, I think that's part of our job, correct? I mean, we are doing here fundamental science, and fundamental science often is very difficult to explain. It's sometimes experiments, and the real physics is very, very difficult and not easy to explain. I mean, we have the benefit that we work with materials which people at least understand mostly because they deal with them daily. But still it's a challenge. And I think we are up for this challenge. We really, over the last years already, did a lot of activities to tell the public, to tell people, in particular also in the vicinity here, what's going on, I mean, what we want to do and what we plan to do. I mean, the reports which have been brought earlier showed already there's some expectation in certain areas. I mean, we talked about them, and the speakers talked about them. Yeah. And these are, of course, kind of highlight areas which we want to go for. But I can assure you we have many, many, many more science examples where people will work in. And some of them are very complex in the moment, but I guess all of them eventually will turn into something that we can tell people and that really will have an impact on society.
Well, run us through some of the main areas of science. I mean, we've heard a bit about the molecular movies. There's also talk about health benefits. Yep. So I'm picking up on benefits in the research for Alzheimer's, yes, perhaps, but also planetary modeling. I mean, these are all amazing, fascinating areas. Perhaps start with the molecular movies.
Well, I mean, I think, yes, I mean, it's of course, I mean, the molecular movie touches into 2 areas. It touches into chemistry, like you might talk about very small molecules, and these small molecules, you want to understand how exactly they react. And if you understand this reaction, light-driven typically, you might be able to basically modify these molecules and give them special properties. And this is something which could become really attractive. And that is, so to say, what we call, in a larger sense, chemistry, correct? It's not yet biological applications or medicine. It's more material science, if you wish so, to really make chemistry work as you want it, be more efficient, use less energy, eventually turn energy, solar energy, into easy, clean energy on Earth. So that is one area. The other area of molecular movies concerns much more complex protein type of molecules, where we want to understand how these react and how they fold, for example, and that has a direct impact to the understanding of biochemistry processes in cells or in our bodies, and that could lead eventually to the cure of treatments and development of new therapies.
Dare I ask how you film a molecular movie? Can you explain it for a dummy like me?
The complete explanation would take a long time, correct? So what we actually do, we take X-ray images of a molecule in a certain state, and we basically trigger this reaction typically by a very short laser pulse. So we assume that this reaction will always happen in the same way, and now we take images at different moments along this reaction. We don't take directly a movie where we take one image after the other, but we take many images at one different moment in time, and then we change this moment in time. And later we stick this together to make a movie out of it.
Right, okay, so there we have that. We've touched on the health benefits. What about planetary modeling? This is an area that I'm particularly interested in.
Well, this is something I've been actually working in the last years a little bit. So the benefit here is that we have a very intense source, which is allowing to image a certain piece of material for a very short moment, but with a lot of photons and therefore being able to collect a lot of information, correct? And so now you can use that for basically looking at material which is under very extreme states. It's transient, it will not live very long time. It might live only in millionths of a second.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Look at that.
So.
It's happened. And they didn't even let us know, Thomas. What are we?
So, right, I think we missed the magical moment of the ribbon cutting because everybody has already a piece of ribbon in their hands. So there was a ribbon band in front of the experiment hatches, and a number of scissors were distributed to cut this ribbon band and thereby open the two experiment hatches, the control hatches of the two instruments. So you see basically standing now our guests there in front of the hatches, and they will now go into one of the experiments, which is the femtosecond X-ray experiment, Fxe, and they will have a look inside into the experiment room where the Fxe group is preparing experiments to be carried out on molecules in a watery phase. So they will take X-ray images of these molecules in there.
So perhaps, Thomas, explain what is the difference, the biggest difference between the two hutches?
So the two instruments which are open for users now are the Fxe instrument, which is the femtosecond X-ray instrument. That's really for investigating chemistry, typically in the moment in a liquid phase, at very early times. So that's what's more chemistry, correct? So photochemistry. And the other instrument in the moment is more targeted towards biological applications. So they will look at in small crystals.
Yeah. Okay.
And eventually individual molecules and how they basically react to an X-ray pulse. So this is the Fxe instrument. Christian Blesser, standing here on the left, is just explaining the instrument. So that is actually where the sample will be, where the X-ray is hitting the liquid jet. You see on the top, on this robot arm, there's a detector, and the X-rays are coming from the right. So basically, the X-ray coming from the back, being by beryllium lenses focused on the sample, and then from there will scatter to a detector which is standing to the left out of the picture here.
And there are detectors then further along, right?
Right, the detector, so to say, is our camera where we take the X-ray images. We have not only this one, this is for the structural information, for the liquid scattering. We also have, basically, you see here in the back, you see a spectrometer which looks at emission, which is coming from the sample, and which will give information about the electronic structure of the excited molecules. And thereby we can learn about the path, really how the molecule after photoexcitation excites and decays into a ground state. And that's what we want eventually to influence by making the molecule basically looking different, having different chemical constituents or different also excitation. So you might think about two optical laser pulses with different colors where you drive the molecule into different states. And that's what eventually will help us really to first understand and later basically really make new materials and make new materials with new properties.
And we should also say these are two hutches of many more that will come online.
So we are now opening for the first two experiments with the user groups at the first two experiments. We will have the other 4 experiments. They are under preparation in the moment, and they will open next year for users, yes.
So can I just ask, are you all scientists here? Put your hands up if you're not a scientist. So a fair few. So you wouldn't mind if I asked a stupid question, right? Why does it have to be 3.4 kilometers long?
3.4 kilometers.
Why can't you just do it like I see lasers on, in films, they're just zapping away like this.
Right. So what we want to do, we want to generate what we call hard X-rays. And what are hard X-rays? Hard X-rays is actually what you use from your doctor. I mean, when you basically go to a dentist or you have some X-ray imaging, you get fairly hard X-rays because these X-rays penetrate through material, like through bones or through your body. And then you can take an image. But for that, you need some what we call photon energy. And to get the electrons to this high energy, you have to accelerate them quite a far way in a free way. And that's why we accelerate, so to say, the electrons over quite a big distance, and then we run them through a very complex undulator. So the electrons we use have much higher energies than your dentist does have. We have 70.5 billion electron volt. But we need this for the free electron laser process. We want to have very high electron energy in order to very efficiently generate very high photon energy.
And
so now...
Yeah, what's happening now? What can we see?
So now people just leave the Fxe experiment hutch and will go to the second experiment. So our instruments are built in a way that we steer the X-ray beam to the experiment hutches by means of a mirror system. So we can, right now, only steer it to one instrument at a time. And the Fxe instrument in the moment is in day shift, so they don't receive the X-ray beam. And the second instrument, single particle and bioimaging instrument, is receiving X-ray beam, and they will now go over to the control hutch of the second instrument and see if they can really basically look and participate in the experiment going on there.
Have we missed the pressing of the button, Thomas?
Right. So basically, the idea is that we that the Minister Vanka will basically press a button to see something.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I'll try to keep it down a little bit.
So this is in front of the control hutch of the SPB instrument, and you see that people stand inside, everybody is around and is looking. I was hoping that we have also a camera inside, but the camera seems to be only outside, so we can't see much.
I see. Ah, there we go.
There we go. Okay. So this is Adrian Mancuso. He's the instrument scientist for this instrument, and he's just explaining, Mr. Vanka, what they are doing right now. As I said, I mean, we are really going on with experiments, and the team is really working. We shift over beam these days at 3 o'clock, so they just, since 3 o'clock, have beam, and really go forward to do first experiments. So we are really very live here. People just do the last steps, and you see up there, for example, the image of the detector, one of these 1 megapixel detector, which can take images at a rate of up there in blue, right? That's one of our latest tools. It's a camera which can take images, 5 million images basically per second. It doesn't take 5 minutes. It will stop after 500 images, but it can take it at this rate. And so that's quite an achievement. This detector really just was delivered in July, and we did a lot of work and many hard work by many people. It's built by a big collaboration centered at DESI, and so now we have it here and it's working. And that's, of course, our big pleasure, and something which will allow us to do experiments.
And Thomas, we spoke a little bit before about the data deluge.
Yes.
How much data? Can we sort of make that, can we visualize that? Can we like make that concrete in our heads? What are we talking about? I mean, with masses of data?
We talk about huge amounts of data, and I think an incredible amount of DVD piles. I'm not really an expert in remembering how high the pile of DVD is, but definitely we will need to develop new means to treat this data. I mean, we will basically have automated procedures. We will store data here. We will give access to user groups here. We will support user groups to take these data and to analyze these data, because I mean, this will be for the users themselves very complicated to deal with this data. So in order to give them best output of their experiments, we will give them all the support they need to analyze this data.
And if I've understood this correctly, some of the data will be open data, and some maybe not, but there is that sort of that European spirit there that research will be published and open to the public.
No, I mean we have completely open facilities, so in principle all the data are open. There's a certain data policy, so I mean this is understandable. Groups put a lot of effort into getting experiments done. There are people who have to do a PhD, scientific publications, so there's some embargo time during which groups own the data, but they will be all kept and they will be made publicly available to the community and the world. But it's complex data and not easy to read.
I think one of the, because I see Karen Breen here in the pictures, it reminds me of something she said. It was sort of reminding me about the budget and on time and on budget. You are quite proud about the fact that the European XFL is on time and on budget, aren't you?
Sure.
Congratulations. Look, I want to get you back involved in this. Can we give the European XFL another round of applause for being on budget and on time? Whoa!
Wow. I surely have to give this forward. This have to give forward to all the people working on the team. I mean, this is a big collaboration, international collaboration. Oh, you see, I mean, there's some images up. There's X-ray images. You see them? These are powder rings from an experiment. So it's a real-life experiment, which Ms. Vanka was very successful. So you see the rings up there. This is powder diffraction from a test sample. Actually, they really have a water jet in the beam, so that's the real result here.
This is absolutely fantastic.
This is absolutely fantastic.
I can see the excitement. I can see the excitement in you, and that's absolutely fantastic. So, I bet you're...
I mean, they enjoy their time down there as well. I think that's clearly observable. Huh? Very good.
Okay. Now, for the rest of the afternoon, those of you who do want to go down, you'll have to make yourselves known, and there are certain procedures you'll have to go through.
Yes.
It is possible, isn't it, Thomas?
I think I mean, I'm a little bit struggling because I don't know exactly what the procedure is, but I guess we had foreseen to have a few visits. I mean, we will not be able to have everybody visiting down there because it's just the amount of time is not available. But I think there's somewhere a place where people can sign up for tours, and there will be a number of tours following basically the end of this meeting.
Can I just try something, Thomas, just while we've got you all still sitting there, because amazingly, you're all still here and listening to us and watching the pictures. Does anybody have a question for Thomas? Any questions for Thomas? He's here. In a minute, he'll be gone.
Everybody's looking for...
Because I've run out of questions. I'm dry. You all happy? Look, I think we can say that that is the official opening ceremony of the European XFL. It's been wonderful that you've all been here. Thomas, Chencha, thank you very much for your time up here on the stage to explain those things. I'm sure that Thomas and other members of the European XFL will be milling around during the afternoon, so please, if you have any questions, approach them. All very wonderful and open people, so come up and have a chat. Have a lovely time. Thanks from me, thanks from the European XFL. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.
Right. Okay. From my point of view, from our point of view, this is the end of the official part. There will be now some food brought around. There's stuff to drink. I think we have lots of colleagues here. We basically have a lot of this reason to discuss and to celebrate what we have heard earlier today. And I invite you all to stay and to enjoy the time and fruitful discussions and enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.